This is Triangle Congruence Day 3, and we're just going to take everything we know so far about triangles and being congruent, and we're just going to take it one more step. So far we've kind of done triangles that are completely separated, usually they're not even touching. Then we talked in the previous lesson about vertical angles and shared sides or reflexive property, and today we're going to bring parallel lines into it. So parallel lines are going to take us back to our 4 types of special angles. So we're going to talk about alternate interior angles, our co-interior angles, corresponding, and alternate exterior. So I'm going to go over to your formula card and I'm just going to draw in a few pictures so that we've got those to use. So the alternate interior angle, I'm just going to draw a picture of what alternate interior looks like, and that is like that. That is probably our most common used one when we're dealing with triangle proofs. That's kind of like your number 1 go-to. Corresponding, I've got 2 parallel lines, and then corresponding angles would look like this. This would probably be our number 2. And the next 2 are really a toss-up. I don't see them too often when we're doing triangle proofs. Alternate exterior would look like this. And then consecutive interior look like this. And these are the 2 that add to 180. But these would be the main 2 that we use when we are proving triangles congruent. We will eventually come back and use those 4 once we get into triangle proofs. So today not all of them, some of your triangles are going to have some parallel sides. And in having parallel sides, as soon as you see that arrow, we have to be looking at one of those 4 types. So we're always going to be gaming for one of those 4 as soon as I see parallel lines. And you're going to see parallel lines a few times today. So if I kind of exaggerate this a little bit, sometimes that helps kids see it. Like those are parallel lines. Here's my transversal, which means here's my pair of equal angles. Those are alternate interior angles. So I'm going to say angle A is congruent to angle E. Those are alternate interior. And then I've got this side already congruent to that side, so DE and AB, they're already equal. And you actually have 2 options here about which way you want to go next. If you see the vertical angles first, you can name those, and then you would be AAS. Or if you go the other pair of alternate interior, you could do B and D and have ASA. I'm going to do one each way. So I'm going to say if on one side, say they both have this A and E equal, that's the ones I chose to begin with. So if you were to say that DCE, so I'm going to talk about this vertical angle in the middle, is congruent to BCA, that vertical angle. Then you have angle, side. If instead you stayed focused on your parallel lines and you actually talked about angle D being congruent to angle B, I'm going to mark those. It's going to get a little full of marks here, but I'm just going to cover up the middle with my marker here. We don't know C because we're doing this a different way, so pretend we don't know that one. Then we would have angle, side, angle. So just a slightly different way to do the 2 triangles congruent, just depending on which information you go after first. In the next one, I've got parallel lines again. I'm going to kind of extend them because that seems to help people see them better. And then I'm going to cut them with a transversal. So here's my alternate interior angle pair. That seems to be the one we're using the most today. And then again, in this one, you have 2 options. You can do vertical right here, or you can do the other alternate interior right there. In either case, you're going to end up with angle, side. So I'll still write it 2 different ways for you. So both of them are going to have angle Q and angle T. In this one, I'll do the vertical angle. So I'll do QR. Is that a P? I think that's a P. We'll do angle QRP is congruent to angle TRS. And that would give me my vertical, and then I would have angle, side. If instead I did Q and T and then I did P and S, I'll mark that one. I still would have angle, side, just kind of in a different setup. Either I'm going to use these 2 angles or I'm going to use this one and it's vertical. So just 2 different options about how you could do that one. Next up, it says, what information do you need to prove that the triangles are congruent? So here's I have some given information, they're telling me some stuff, and then I am supposed to name the third thing I would need to be side, side, side. So let's mark JR and DF. Here's JR, that side, is equal to DF, this side. I know that JM is congruent to DB, so J to M is congruent to D to B. Remember, we want to give those different marks because I don't know if these guys are the same size. And in order for me to be equal by side, 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 I already have two of the sides. I just need to name my third one. So that's going to have to be RM, has to be congruent to FB. That's the last thing I would need in order to prove that these triangles are congruent. Next up, we're going to do the same pictures, same concept, only we're going to change it to be side, angle, side. So JR is right here, still congruent to DF. Then I've got JM, again on the bottom, to DB. Okay, so it's pretty much the same setup as the last one, only this time I want to be side, angle, side. So here are my two sides, and my angle has to be between them, has to be touching both sides. So the only angle that touches both of those lines is right there, angle J, and that would have to go with angle D. And that would give me side, angle, side. So one more like that, I'm going to give you some information to start with. RM is congruent to FB, so RM is right here, FB is right there. Angle J is a right angle, that's nice. And then, I don't know if yours has a box on it, but that's supposed to be a congruent sign, actually an equal sign, but I don't know why it replaced it with a box. J is a right angle, and then it says J and D are equal, so that means D's got to be a right angle. And we want to be congruent by HL. So for HL to happen, I have to have a 90-degree angle, check. I have to have the hypotenuse, which is across from the 90-degree angle, check. And then I need one leg, and it doesn't matter which one. So if you want to use the bottom pair or you want to use the left side, it doesn't matter which one you use. I'm just going to go with the bottom. So JM is congruent to DB. So today the big focus is on parallel lines now. And when we have parallel lines, knowing that we're going to be naming one of those four types of angles for sure in our picture in order to get them congruent.